Good morning.
Good morning, Chase.
Where did Ramsy go? We're less than 5 seconds in and we have a technical difficulty. Well, I'm excited. We've wanted to start this show for a hot minute now. Our goal is really to give encouraging, educational, and energizing good news and great tips for all of our friends and family who call Central Arkansas home. Actually, we have no idea what we're going to do yet. We're trying to figure it out as we go, but the goal was press record, which is what we're going to call this episode 1, because we were really prioritizing perfection over the performance of just getting it done. So this is us pressing record, inviting you in, vulnerably saying we don't have all of this figured out. Really, we've switched up where we are about 3 times as we're even preparing this recording, and we're having some fun. So yeah, Marshall's showing off how Ramsy's in the background of his shot. We were supposed to all 3 be in the same room, and we're just having some fun figuring it out as we go, and we hope that it'll be a good time for all of us. Selfishly, I'm excited for the people who do generously share their attention towards us on this podcast, that they will be blessed in the same way that I feel so blessed to have the community and connection with Ramsy, with Marshall, with Patrick. We just got some great teammates, some great personalities that I'm really excited to bring to the community and share some of the love. To start us out, let's give us some good news.
The good news is interest rates are supposed to drop 3 times in 2024. The Fed just came out with that piece of information.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the Fed has been raising interest rates at every meeting that they've had each quarter. And so the news that is stopping was encouraging. There is also a risk for just more buyers coming back to the market with decreased rates, even if they don't come back down to the 3s or 4s like they were. I think even just coming down to the 6s, potentially 5s, I think that's probably a little low, but there's going to be a flood of buyers hitting the market, so it will increase competition. Again, I don't think it'll get as crazy as it was, but I think you definitely will see more competition than you've seen in the last couple months.
How could it ever be bad news that the interest rates would drop?
Yeah, competition's good. I think sellers and buyers will both be happy to see it. So, yeah, I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. I'm thrilled.
Little Rock specific news is Falcon Jet announced a $100 million expansion, which is supposed to bring another 800 jobs over the next 5 years, which is huge. I think they already employ like 1,500 people at that plant. So it's pretty
massive.
Exciting. Yeah, I mean, just so Falcon Jet, I think has 1,400 people now, right under 15 at the moment. Then, of course, like we said, another 800 in the next 4 to 5 years. I think Amazon has 2 distribution centers here in Central Arkansas. Those are both pretty big employers. Dillard's corporate headquarters is here. That's a big employer.
Shout out, Bill. Way to go.
Yeah, Stevens Inc. and Steven Holdings. That's a big employer. A lot of people work for Stevens. What are some other big employers? You can think of, the medical complex. So, UMS is a huge employer.
Shout out to UAMS.
University of Arkansas Medical School, Children's Hospital. They announced a big expansion.
I always get excited when something like that happens, because some of my favorite clients to get to help buy are the ones who are moving here from out of state, because you get to not just like show them houses, you're showing them the city. And it's such a wave of excitement when you're showing someone our city for the first time. Getting to give them a tour where we take them to see Pinnacle. We take them to some of the nice parks that we have with great views. We get to show them some of our favorite golf courses. We get to share some of our favorite restaurants. And it's really exciting when a big business makes a big announcement like this, because that means we might get some more buyers. We get to do some really fun tours, not just for houses, but for our city. Have y'all done Topgolf recently?
I've never done Topgolf in my life.
Oh my gosh. We got to make that happen. As a team, we like to do Chenal Country Club every once in a while and go hit balls at the range, and that's always a good time. But there's nothing quite like having a point system when you're swinging the golf club. because you can have so much fun just smashing as hard as you can. And sometimes you get lucky and hit it into a hole that's different than the one you're aiming for, and nobody knows. It's great. Great food and beverage.
And there's death right in front of you. You can just fall off into one of those nets. I did see that a couple of days ago, the Arkansas announced a $5 million, basically, I don't know if it's a grant or I think it's going to be in the form of rebates, but for filming in the state, for filmmaking incentives. Love to see more things filmed here. There's been a couple of things. I know True Detective was filmed here. Some of the Mud was filmed here. I know that some of the God's Not Dead films were filmed here as well.
Sling Blade.
I cried in that movie.
Sling Blade. It's been a minute.
Let's just get vulnerable here.
Real quick.
So
Chase, I need you to continue to eat throughout the entire podcast. I need that.
Oh, good. I brought an extra apple just in case. Rapper Missy Elliott donates $50,000 to help 26 families who were past due on their rent in her hometown. It's hilarious. It's hilarious to me that Marshall is talking to Ramsy and Ramsy is sitting behind you. That is so funny. Yeah. California apparently had plans to release 2.25 million sterile male fruit flies into a Los Angeles neighborhood to eradicate invasive wild Mediterranean fruit flies.
Oh.
So they go impregnate all of the female fruit flies with what? Like they're poisonous? We need to move on from that.
They're sterile, which means they just aren't. They're not fertile.
So they're not poisonous.
Yeah, it just basically means that they could mate, but there's nothing. There won't be no generation. There's no passing of anything.
How does one
That's
create
pretty clever.
sterile?
I'm just thinking about if you're in the neighborhood and you're like, dude, there's so many flies. What are we gonna do?
Fruit flies,
and eventually
yeah,
it gets so bad that they're like, you know what? We need 2.25 million sterile flies that we're gonna add. So for a while,
and then they all die because fruit flies' lifespan is super short.
Yeah, so I wonder how long these neighbors are like, oh my gosh, just swatting flies. Wait, let me start over. There is a 10-year-old in Benton, Arkansas, who wrote an inspiring book about entrepreneurship. It's this sweet little girl, and she started a lemonade stand, and it did so well. And she's then written a book and sharing it with all of her fellow classmates. And I thought that was a really cool deal. I'm a huge fan of, being entrepreneurship in general. I actually took my kids to do a little lemonade stand on the Chenal golf course until I learned that was not allowed, and we were kindly escorted off of the course. It was a great lesson on, understanding your rules and regulations before you buy all of the material to open up a lemonade stand that you hope to operate for the entire summer. While this girl, she did it right, and she did it really well, made a lot of money, and it's a sweet deal that we got a Saline County rock star as a 10-year-old. I saw a police sergeant who was shot and killed in active duty, had his entire mortgage paid off by a charity called Tunnels to Towers.
Oh.
That's some good news for you. Oh, I wanted to give a shout out to Jeff Turk, who just got announced as the new president of Splash Investment Group. You probably have driven a car in Central Arkansas. You've probably seen a Splash car wash, and that is the amazing Stagg family. Those are great people, great clients of ours, and they've got Jeff now helping run the ship, and that just thrills me for them. He's a great leader, great guy. A lot of great people in that organization. So I just wanted to give them a great little shout out about that good news. My friend Michelle Perez got a real great video that just came out about the Clinton School of Public Service. And I thought that was a really good thing to share. So we're going to put a link in that somewhere, wherever we share this, which is just a cool deal. If you're not aware of the Clinton School of Public Service, it's a really big deal. It actually brings people from all over the world to Arkansas.
It's It's the only school in the country where you can get a master's of public service.
Well, I was going to go for some just home sweet home questions.
I love it. Home sweet home questions. Let's go.
Why
All right, give it to me.
Arkansas? I mean, why do you guys choose to be here? There's other states. I'm sure we all have thought about it. What is it that's keeping y'all in Arkansas, Central Arkansas specifically?
Yeah, I would say having lived in other states, this one is one that I've definitely considered because I had to choose to move back to Arkansas. And one thing that I really love here is how much easier it is to live here. Um, just getting around is easier. Things are less expensive, so you can afford things easier. And because it's just a less populated state, things are a little bit easier to expedite or get through the process. I mean, even like registration for my vehicle, right? You know, when I lived in another state where you had to make an appointment and it was like days later before you finally got in, and you still had to wait, you know, for hours. I was in and out of the DMV, you know, when I renewed my registration of my vehicle in 5 minutes. I mean, it was so fast. So those things are a lot easier. You know, you get a parking ticket here, it's pretty inexpensive. It's $15. I was used to paying, I think, almost $80 for one parking ticket, you know, in my previous location. So yeah, there are definitely perks. Obviously, property values are less expensive, so you can get a lot more bang for your buck. In the state of Arkansas, I mean, of course, the whole country, you know, saw property values increase, but we're still nationally in a pretty affordable place based on our income levels and everything. So that's awesome.
Man, I love that.
And the people are awesome. The people here are
awesome.
super friendly. Everyone
Southern
actually,
charm.
you don't feel like you're when you meet a new person that they're in any way using you or whatever. It feels like they genuinely care about you. They genuinely want to get to know you. So yeah, and every time I bring my friends from out of state to visit, that's one of the first things that they always say is, "Wow, everyone's so nice here." So shout out to Arkansans.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, one of the things that I got a few things I'm excited to share anytime someone asks, you know, why Arkansas? And the first thing that comes to my mind right now is we are a four seasons state. I mean, you get to experience winter, spring, summer, and fall. And we have rolling hills and beautiful landscapes and great biking and hiking. It's just a very active state. And it almost feels like it's one of America's best kept secrets because it's not overpopulated, but there's so much to enjoy naturally here. I mean, we're called the natural state, and it's properly titled. We also have a lot of great locally owned restaurants, particularly in Central Arkansas. I feel like it might be unique that we seem to have a higher amount of locally owned restaurants per capita versus the average city who might have more chain restaurants. So just there's a lot of a value to the kind of small town vibe. And Little Rock really feels like Arkansas's largest small town. It still feels like you can walk into a room and know a lot of people and feel home. It's a really well-connected community that's active, and you know, I think it deserves to be celebrated that the Walton family has installed some of the best biking in the entire country here in Little Rock. So if you're active and you enjoy being involved in the community, I mean, this is one of the best communities in the country. I mean, there is truly something to be said for the Southern charm of people who really care about people. And we're not too fast-paced that we don't prioritize the person that's in front of us. And we got a lot to do all over the state.
I mean, y'all touched on it. I love the weather in Arkansas. It's December, and you can walk outside with a super light jacket on, and you'll be okay. You know, and in about 2 months, it's going to be a different story. But until that time gets here, it's a great time to be outside with friends, with people, and It is one of those things. It's almost anytime I go out of the state, well, out of the South specifically, I'm at the gas station or I'm at wherever and I'm talking to somebody and I'm just making small talk and they're looking at me like I have three eyes. And it's weird. You know, I've only lived in Arkansas. I don't have that other experience like Ramsy does. And it is the people, I mean, that keep people here. That's what, if you ask almost any Arkansan, it's like, why are you in Arkansas? You know, the weather's great, it's awesome, there's a ton to do, it's outdoor activities, but everybody's going to say the people.
The Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts just did a big renovation project. So they opened with a new gallery there. It's phenomenal, great architecture of the entire building. The Masonic Templar African American Museum just did a big renovation project and they just reopened. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we have the Clinton Library. And then you have the Central High little museum that they've got there. So you've got several different things culturally to kind of do to check out, you know, different arts, museums, history. Temporary exhibit, by the way, is called Be Our Guest. And they also have a pop-up exhibit about AmeriCorps.
What do you do for fun that energizes you most right now?
You guys know exactly what I'm about to say. I'm a big fan of motocross. Dirt bikes. It's just, I don't know, man. There's something about that, like, you're in the air and you're aware that there's a % chance that this could go really bad, but it could also go really, really great. And that feeling when it goes great, for me, it's like nothing else in the world exists when I am flying through the air. You know, like it's just,
wow.
I don't have the brain power to think about, you know, the client that's not texting me back, or, you know, if one of my buddies is mad at me or something, it doesn't matter, because I don't have the brain capacity to focus on, you know, controlling the bike, controlling my body, and worrying about a human thing, you know, because it's not
totally.
It's a great way to get my mind off everything, and it's me when I have ridden, you know, like in the past week or something, versus when I haven't. It's a different guy, because I don't know. A lot of people in the community say it's almost therapeutic, because it's just, you get to escape the world.
Man, I love that. That's so good. That might be our best soundbite yet of the day, bro.
The community is going to go crazy about it.
Dude, viral. No, I love hearing your heart on that. It's such a cool perspective to think about. You flying through the air, you've got nothing else on your mind but landing that plane.
This time of year, when the weather starts to get colder, I always get really into movies. So we have a group of us that either go to the movies to go see new movies that are out, or we'll host movie nights, either at their house or our house or whatever. And so I actually have a couple memberships that allow me to do that, but I also got recently an invite from the AMC to do like a movies unseen, where you just show up and you pay like $5 and do a movie that it wasn't out yet. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, last Monday I went and saw Boys in the Boat. Yeah, it was Boys in the Boat, which is a movie produced by George Clooney. And it follows around the 1936 Olympics of these boys from Washington State that made this rowing team, and they actually make it all the way to the Olympics. And it's in Berlin, and it's pretty cool. So it was a good feel-good film. And they're doing another unseen January the 8th. I get really into movies this time of year. A lot of good ones come out.
When you walk in the room, like when it's
you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, even we sat down for the movie in the theater, and the woman behind us whispered to the guy next to her, "Do you know anything about this movie yet?" And then none of us did. So literally the trailer starts, and you watch the trailers, and you're kind of trying to gauge like what kind of movie it could be from the trailers. And then the movie starts, and you're like, here we go. It could be anything, any genre. All you know is the rating when you go in. That's it.
I love it. And one of my favorite things is when I'm watching a movie is to have never seen the trailer. So you're getting that on a whole nother level, because you're actually in the theater. You don't even know the genre.
Exactly.
It could be a horror film.
It could be. Yeah. Yeah, we had no idea. So it was a pretty cool opportunity. But yeah, I've always been into movies. My whole family's really into movies, and then I've got a whole group of friends that's really into movies, and of course, I lived in Los Angeles for a little bit, and so got to follow the movie industry very closely. So,
Do they give you a rating? Because I'm just in my head. I'm wondering, like, it's a, you get this invite, you're super excited to go. You're like, all right, kids, come on, and you get in there, and it's like it's Saw 11.
so that's the one and only thing is the rating of the film.
One of the best things about seeing a movie without having seen the commercials is that it could be a horror film and you would have no idea. So the suspense is already a little bit elevated. And then by the end of it, you're like, that was a drama rom-com the whole time? Dang it.
It's kind of like if you've ever seen The Village. That was the biggest complaint about The Village, is that they misadvertised that to almost make the trailer feel like it was supposed to be a horror film.
Totally.
But once again, word of mouth. Once I'd had a couple friends go see it and say, hey, well, if you walk into it knowing that it's not a scary movie, it's not a horror film, you're going to love it. Like, but if you walk in thinking that that's what you're going to expect, you're not going to enjoy it. And so changing my expectations walking into the theater, I loved that film.
What was the movie, Ramsey, that you and I went and saw together?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Great film.
Okay, so
Quentin
credits
Tarantino
roll.
film.
It's the movie's over, and I'm like, what in the world did I just watch? And Ramsey says, do you know what in the world you just watched? And I said, no, will you please help me? And he then explained the true story behind what that movie was based around, and really how this was like designed to kind of almost give this new, like almost like how we wish it could have been, sort of, instead of the reality of the history of what actually happened. And immediately I'm like, oh my goodness, that movie is wonderful. It really helps to understand the history of kind of what the movie is about in order to fully appreciate it.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be able to walk into a movie and literally know nothing about it and just watch it, right? And other times it's nice if your friends can preface just a little bit and say, hey, just expect this or don't expect this.
If you walk into Inception and you're expecting a normal movie,
Like a rom-com?
yeah, that's what I agree.
That sounds like my dream. I would love that.
Inception is not a rom-com for the listeners who have not seen it.
Yes. Might be one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Big fan.
I'm receiving your very kindly presented constructive criticism.
Yeah, and I think it's going good. Like, I think we've got a lot of good clips, like, for sure. And it's not going awful.
Oh, it's going wonderfully. If we were on a date right now, I'd be really looking forward to the next one. What is your greatest guilty pleasure item that you reward yourself with?
You don't even want to know. No, I'm just kidding. Corny music, dude. I love, like, corny.
Oh, I love that.
It's a whole genre of, like, we might have to take this out if I'm going to give you the honest, like, what I call this genre. It's divorced dads. Like, it's like the Creed, Hinder, Nickelback, can you take... It's that stuff right
higher.
That music, I mean, I don't know if you can call it a guilty pleasure, because if my Spotify or if my Apple Wrapped came out like today, just for what I've been listening to the past 3 weeks, it's going to be like Creed, Three Doors Down, Nickelback, and I'm ashamed of it, but I love it.
Indulging in a guilty pleasure, something that, like, if I feel like I'm stressed or whatever and I wanted to do something, it would be to read car news. That's typically what I would do, is like I immediately just start going into the automotive news blogs and read about that kind of stuff.
Porsche. I know you know.
Yeah, because I typically follow that pretty closely, and then then I book trips to go to the auto shows, etc.
Did you recently watch that video of the Cybertruck towing the Porsche 911 while eating a Porsche 911?
That was amazing.
I feel like every guy, when they saw that, was just like, heck yeah.
Because you saw him just racing the two, and you were like, oh wow, that Cybertruck is really fast. And then they zoomed out, And then you're like, oh, and it's also pulling a 911.
And y'all's were so good.
Purple waffles.
Purple waffles, for sure. So Casey on Saturdays blesses our family with typically 1 to 2 boxes of purple waffles. And it's the sweetest thing because she makes, probably 3 per person. We have a family of 5. And it's typical that most of them will only eat half of their one. And so I will finish the families. And on a given Saturday, no joke, I'm eating at least 7 waffles on average.
Nice.
So,
Are they waffles or pancakes?
they're waffles, and they're ube waffles. So they're a rice protein. And that's
love
that's the justification mentally for me, is that somehow they're not as unhealthy because they are protein waffles. And I just eat them straight with butter. The other thing too, I just would feel like I was not being honest if I didn't share how much I love pickleball. I'm really, really appreciative of the sport that feels brand new to me, but I'm realizing has been around for so long. Anybody can go out there and play and have a good time. It's a very levelized playing field.
Yeah.
And it's a
You
good
can
time.
get humbled quickly. I think I'm an athlete until it's like a 62-year-old married couple demolishes me. The last pickleball game I played, I was at, there's a pickleball court at Tyndall Park in Saline County, and we were just having a great time. Me and my buddies, it is one-on-one, right? These elderly people come up and they start, first off, critiquing us, letting us know that like we're doing it wrong. They're like, you're out of position, you're keeping score wrong, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna show these folks what's up. And we got beat. Like, I don't know if we scored, because like the ladies' serve was insane. And then I asked her after, I was like, how often do you play pickleball? She was like, 4 to 5 hours a day, every day. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my gosh, that is their guilty pleasure for sure.
It's a great
That's
sport.
their job, dude. That's their career.
That is a full-time job for a millennial.
And it's crazy that a sport that started in the 1960s has become so popular, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, it's just exploded.
Unbelievable. So, Rackley rule of the day. Today's Rackley rule is short and sweet about me, tall and true about you. I thought it'd be fun to share that one today because of how yesterday in our team meeting that came up and how we operate on a marketing level when we're thinking about promoting these properties. It's kind of a popular strategy right now to use the house to promote the agent. And that's a perfectly appropriate thing to do as an agent. I think there's some wisdom to it. Where we wanted to stay committed as a team to not getting ourselves in the way of truly highlighting a home and its most favorable features and the promotions of that property. Meaning, when we film videos about our listings, we're not just doing full selfie mode style. We're in every shot. It's all about us and how we feel about the house. We still are committed to highlighting that home in a way that really just says, these are the best things about it. This is the best things about the neighborhood. And we're going to do the targeted ads to put it in front of the right people in the right way, where they actually discover the property, not the person who is listing the property. And we will, at the same time, have some separate efforts that will continue to celebrate the agent who is promoting that property. But as a team, we are committed to not letting ourselves get in the way of doing what these sellers are paying us to do, which is sell their house, not show ourselves off.
I think it applies, especially when meeting someone new. If you really engage with them to get to know them well, and you keep it tall and true about you, but you keep it, what is it?
Yeah. You nailed it.
Yeah, I think if you're meeting someone new and you're keeping it short and sweet about you and tall and true about
This is not working.
Yeah, I think when you're meeting someone new, if you're keeping, I can't even do it now.
This is good. You're on a great word. I want to hang out there. We're gonna get it.
I think a time that it's really come true for me is when meeting someone new and you're keeping it short and sweet about me and tall and true about you. Obviously, from the perspective of you as the person, me as the person. It's very confusing. You're really getting to know them well, and you're engaging with them, like really getting to know everything about them. What do you do? What do you love? What are you passionate about, etc. And really the things about you're keeping it tall and true.
I think that's really important for us too. Yeah. Because it's like, they see us on social media, and the social media post that we do is all like in your face. This is us. See what we do. So like when we meet them in person, instead of us being what they might have us as a preconceived notion, like this guy's going to talk about himself. It's like, no, dude, we just want you to know that we're doing what we're doing. But at the end of the day, what are you all about?
Wow.
I think they'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I think
so
people's
good.
idea a lot of times when meeting someone new is let me sell these people, let me tell them how cool I am, tell them all these cool things about me. But really, people walk away feeling better if they are heard and they got to really share their passion and feel listened to.
Totally.
You're typically just going to have a better relational experience if that's the feeling that they have when they walk away, when they're like, oh, wow, he genuinely listened to me. He understood me. He asked me great questions, as opposed to, oh, yeah, he just talked about how awesome it was for, 30 minutes. And maybe he is awesome, but it doesn't make you feel good. And so you don't necessarily know if you want to keep a relationship going with that person. So
That's so good. My mom always says people don't remember you for, what you said to them. They remember you for how they felt about themselves when they were with you.
how you made them feel.
That's a great way to help match your intention with your impact. Because I think it's true for everyone on our team that they do actually really care about the person that they're with. They care about making them feel encouraged. They care about actually serving them well. And so a great way to match that intention with the impact is to keep it short and sweet about us and tall and true about them. Really focus, like Marshall was saying, tell us about you. Like what's important to you? Let's brainstorm on what your goals are and how we can help make sure we're accomplishing that, because that's far more important than my statistics or what my opinions are, the plan I had prior to knowing even exactly what's important to you. It's good stuff.
I agree.
Are there any unique home hacks that you could consider or think of that might be valuable for the homeowner?
I would say typically things that you're going to keep in mind are things to prepare for the winter in terms of making sure that your HVAC has been serviced, so that your furnace or heat pump is working at maximum efficiency and able to cool the property. You don't want to wait till the coldest day of the year to be like, oh, hope my furnace or my heat pump's working well. It's better to get it serviced preemptively. You want to have it serviced twice a year, once in the spring before the summer, and then once in the fall before the winter. It's never too late, obviously. It still kind of feels like fall sometimes outside, so go ahead and have a service now.
A lot of people, they would probably think, oh, I don't want to pay for someone to service my unit twice a year because it's working just fine. I don't want to spend money unnecessarily. Well, what's probably helpful to know is like when you service it twice a year, your chances of having to replace it is far lower.
Yeah, you're elongating the life of the unit for sure. Yeah, and a little sidebar of this, the World Health Organization released the recommended, I put some on Instagram a couple of days ago, the recommended thermostat settings, and believes that the ideal temperature is 64.4 for your thermostat in the winter. And then it needs to be 1 to 2 degrees below that for sleeping in the bedroom. And then, of course, above that in the bathroom for when you get out of the shower. So how does that compare to where you guys keep your thermostat?
That is going to be great news for my wife, who loves to keep it cold, because then that forces you to have to really get cozy in the bed. And so when I tell her that 64
and wear comfy clothes
is actually that's the metric for the day, even lower for the night, right? That's so good.
Correct.
I mean, that'll save us some money too.
Yeah, exactly. And use a
I
unit
just
less.
missed the
So
trash
the
can
unit.
with my apple. I just feel pretty embarrassed about it and wanted to share in case anyone could see it in the background.
I saw
And the
you throw
units.
it.
That's all there.
Are y'all reading any books right now?
I mean, I'm really bad about just staying on the exactly what to say. I mean, I listen to it just. I'm not a huge reader. I need to be better about it. That's the one book that, like, this year I've really read and studied, and I think I've listened to it like 3 times, and it's tough to find a book that literally tells you exactly what to say. And that book is just, it tells you, it's called Exactly What to Say. You know, it's just so easy to listen to it before an appointment and be a little bit more confident going into it.
So for our viewers and listeners, there's a book called Exactly What to Say for real estate agents. My wife saw it and was like, that looks so manipulative. Like, that should not be a book that people see on your desk. That just feels weird. And I agree with her. The title sounds icky and like whatever. The reality is that book, it really is worthy of celebration and should be, I think every realtor should be aware of it, because it's basically research and just an incredible collection of the most effective ways to communicate the hard moments and hard conversations of real estate with your clients. I mean, a lot of our job is, when we're doing it right, is telling people not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. And the book does a great job to help us learn how to communicate in a way that's selfless, clear. I mean, to be clear is to be kind. And that's what the book does a really good job of, to know how to clearly and kindly communicate hard truths, and to have somewhat of a fundamental foundation of, you know, some best practices on how you can make sure you're communicating with professionalism and precision on navigating a lot of the tricky subjects of real estate transactions.
2 audiobooks that are good ones
That counts.
that I've been hitting are an old classic by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That one's
Love it.
also can feel similar to the last one that you were referencing. It feels like a hack, but it's just so good. I mean, anybody who works with people, customer service, is in a relationship, like, it's just a great way to communicate, right? And then the other is The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. Basically, it's looking into the forgotten history of how government policy kind of separated cities in the United States.
Wow.
And so that's, especially with those that are working like us in the industry, the real estate industry, it's nice to know the history of why certain cities are so segregated. And a lot of it's through government policy and the history of that. So The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, definitely a recommended read or listen.
Dang, dude, I love that you're reading that or listening to it, because that is so like your genre. It reminds me of that
It should be
guy that we met.
everyone's genre.
I tell people about it every once in a while. Is that, I forget what the meeting was, but I think the guy was from Australia, and he traveled the world telling people about really the segregation issue of, since the Little Rock Nine, that was the attempt to, really, set up a great platform for diversity inside the school system. And the irony of, as soon as our city made an honest effort to do that, we became one of the most segregated cities in the country. Am I remembering that correctly?
Similarly, yeah. I mean, there were a lot of policies at that time. That was kind of the height of those policies. A lot of it had to do with interstate development, where they would decide to put the interstate neighborhoods that would be divided after that. A lot of it has to do with old policies that are no longer allowed, redlining, steering, blockbusting, all those types of things. And one interesting thing I always thought was interesting about the school's integration is, everyone thought, oh, it's great, we've integrated all the students. It's amazing that we've got all this diversity, but they didn't integrate the teachers. And so typically now you had all these students that were, from multiple races, but all the teachers were predominantly white. and so it kept the students from having a diversity of teaching leadership.
Yeah.
Dude. What? Chase sent me down like a laughing rabbit hole when he was like, racism sucks.
Oh man, I hope someone enjoys this show somewhere.
I'm glad this is not live.
One person at least.
What?
Also, ice cream. I love ice cream.
I
put peanut butter in it.
ice cream.
Especially in the winter. I crave ice cream in the winter.
What are the best ice cream spots in our city?
Scoop Dog, Lob Lolly. That's all you need to know. Andy's, it's fine. It's good, whatever.
Oh, you're anti-Andy's?
Lob Lolly Creamery. Yeah, it's corporate. It's a chain. It could be locally owned franchise. I don't know. But I think Lob Lolly, downtown Little Rock and Soma, delicious. And then Scoop Dog is in North Little Rock, locally owned as well. Cash only, but delicious.
I mean, none to name. Yeah, I mean, Saline County's got a big problem with chains. If we're going to shout out a Saline County restaurant, shout out to Blue House Bakery. Hands down. I mean, there's a few good ones to name, like Mamma Mia's Pizzeria, Baja Grill, but I mean, there's not a ice cream spot that's killing it. Just because there's so many freaking chains, dude. Like, I guarantee you right now in Saline County, there's 3 people ordering a Sonic Blast right now. A Sonic Blast. I think that's probably, Sonic is probably #1 ice cream spot as far as sales go in Saline County.
But there is a Lob Lolly Creamery downtown Benton.
Nice. Downtown Benton's got a lot of cool stuff going on. That's where Mamma Mia's Pizzeria is close to. Baja's over there. Rober, which is like a fine dining restaurant in Saline County, which it's cool to see. Downtown Benton's killing it. Outside of downtown Benton, I mean in Alcoa, I think there's been 2 new chain restaurants put in. Blue House did just get a new location, and they are killing it. Recently, I've been trying to figure out a good way to end phone calls and make sure that like the phone calls ended with them remembering again, like, this guy's a real estate agent. I heard it from an attorney friend of mine, and I mean, it blew me away. He said, all right, man, well, stay out of trouble, and if you get into it, call me. And I mean, I was instantly like, whoa, that's a good one. So if I could think of something.
That is so good. Is that Sellers, or is that his name?
That's Selleck. Yeah,
Selleck?
that's Selleck Childress. That's his, man. That's. And I told him that build your brand around that right there. Like, put that in your
Gosh, that is
voicemail.
so good, Marshall. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah.
How does he finish his phone calls?
Every time. Well, stay out of trouble, and if you get into it, call me. And it's like.
Okay, listen.
10 out of 10.
That is so good. And last night, I said something that I really wished I had said more often. I wasn't even really trying to be funny, but the seller laughed out loud when I said it. And it made me realize, like, oh, I might need to remember that one. I said something like, well, thanks for having me over. You have a beautiful home. I can't wait to help you get rid of it. And they loved it.
I like
Not near as good as Selleck's, but it's a good little keeper. Like, man, you have a beautiful home. I can't wait to help you get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, because I remember that, and they're like, oh, I mean, that's true. I do have this beautiful home I need to get rid of. Yeah.
And that probably only lands well if they're actually like in a conversation about selling. Otherwise, that's so rude. Like, you wouldn't say it if they're like at a dinner party. Maybe at the dinner party, it could be something
beautiful
like,
home. You should get rid of
"What a
this.
beautiful home. I hope I get to sell it someday." But that feels weird. There's got to be something better. What could we say if they're not? Like, if you didn't come over for the listing appointment, what could you say that's less like salesy, but at the same time kind of fun, Selleck style?
Gosh, this is a beautiful home. Can't wait to help you buy a more beautiful one. Can't wait to help you buy a better one.
You can do better than this.
This house
right?
is beautiful. This house is beautiful. I can't wait to help you buy a better one. I like it.
That's so good.
I've been trying to think of something because I want to find a way to just like I need a good tag. And I mean, one thing I was thinking of, Are y'all familiar with what a G move is? Like if someone's like, man, that was a G move right there.
I love the things you teach me,
Yes.
Marshall.
So I was thinking, to make a G move, work with Marshall G or something. With G.
You see, for me, every G move is a Golleher move. That's all I know. Those are the only
100%.
G moves that I've ever heard of. You are
Yeah.
the G move.
I appreciate that. I'm working on that right now. That's like a whole thing that I've been tossing around. It's like a video idea.
So good. And then eventually you have the G move E.
That's coming, without a doubt. It's probably going to be a TV show. There's a lot to fit in there.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all looking forward to it. That's for sure.
It's probably 15 years out, but I'm excited about it. It's an early production.
15 years can't come soon enough.
Downtown master plan. I mean, that's a big one, right? Like, that's something people need to know about for sure, especially if you work in downtown or live down there. Me and Ramsy went to something similar, you remember, a while back, but I think this one's different than the previous, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So basically the city of Little Rock and the downtown partnership have hired an outside firm, a consulting firm, to come in and basically evaluate the current state of the downtown area and then compile a whole bunch of research from their own observations, but also from a lot of community involvement, meeting with city leaders and various people within the community. And then hold actual almost town hall style meetings to hear from the community to see hey, these are some ideas that we have. What do you guys think about those? What do you think we should put all of our eggs into executing and recommending, and because obviously not all of their recommendations are going to work for every city, right? And it can be something as small as there needs to be one same uniform light street light lamp throughout the city, through the downtown area, or a uniform set of trash cans or benches or whatever. And it can be let's do new signage to connect and highlight certain neighborhoods. We need more sidewalks, wider sidewalks. We need public transportation. We need, more trees. I mean, the number of things that you can do is huge. And so their goal is, I believe, to come up with a final plan by the end of July and sometime at the end of the summer. And so they're hosting meetings at least once a month with the city to try to get the community to come. And then after the meeting, they'll have a survey that's available to the community where you can, vote on various things. So this time they actually had, at the meeting, there were over 100 people there. And they had all these ideas that they'd come up with on a table. And then when you walked in, you got a little cup of 10 marbles, 10 little rocks. And you could vote on the various ideas that they had come up with. I can't remember, maybe, 60 ideas or something. And so you could vote with your 10 little rocks in the various mason jars to try to say, hey, these are items that I would like to prioritize, like deck parks, or I'd like to see, certain, more historic and landmarks be highlighted, to really promote the cultural significance of certain places downtown Little Rock, each thing. And so it was really cool to see. And it was cool to hear the community kind of giving that feedback, and they gave a presentation on their observations. And so I'm excited to be able to attend more meetings, and everyone should definitely attend the meetings and
So
check
does
into the
anyone
Little
who
Rock
attend get
master plan.
their-
We'll put the link for the master plan website in the bottom.
Love it. Does anyone who attend these meetings, do they receive 10 marbles? Could anybody just show up or do the marbles hold actual weight to the decision-making process?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who walked in the door got a little cup of the 10 little rocks. And the whole point was just to be able to see, what does the community feel about these ideas? And so even by the time we all walked out of the room, the staff that works for the consulting firm could easily say, okay, these are clearly items that are really important to the community of Little Rock. And these are items that maybe are less, we thought maybe were a good idea, but maybe are less important.
One of the things I wanted to ask about that, though, is the area behind our beautiful listing downtown, the 521 President Clinton Avenue, the First Security Tower. Behind there, I'm curious, Could you share a little bit about what's happening there with the park being developed?
Yeah, so there's a park that I believe there was an architectural firm in town that put up a link for anybody to view and submit ideas for the park. And I can't remember which architectural firm.
Yeah, we have that link. We can share that. That's good stuff.
But they're basically looking through various ideas that the community has submitted, or anybody can submit, or what to do with the park. And it can be anything from a splash pad to, some certain trees, etc. And
So they
yeah,
haven't decided what they're doing yet, and they're still open to the
I don't
public's
believe this.
contribution.
Correct. I think that the window to be able to contribute ideas has closed, but I don't believe that the city has 100% decided on anything 100% and moving forward.
The downtown development plan has 2 parks that they're working on, and they're still kind of open to the public's contribution as to what could go in there. There's also
So the one that you're referring to is a 20-acre park initially that's close to the river market, is a 20-acre park that was freed by the I-30 crossing project from the old on-ramp, right? Studio Maine is the local firm that's did a submission or a contest, basically, of community submissions. They got 21 submissions promoting different visions, from climbing walls to water canals, of basically what those downtown park areas could become.
within the near future, the river market's going to be a whole new deal. It's going to have 2 stories instead of just one. It's going to maximize the views over the river instead of like right now you kind of walk in, it's just like, it's like a building like anywhere else. Where if you think about it, it's like, why is it set up that way when we're right next to the river? Like we should be able to walk through that building and see these great views and have restaurants that are 2-story where you can have, balconied seating. And so it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see what the river market has in the future.
Yeah, that's the meeting that one of the firms that was being considered for the role came and hosted a little community town hall at the Little Rock Chamber of Commerce that Marshall and I went to, and they wanted to hear specifically from young professionals what we wanted to see done with the river market. So that was cool. And one of the very common thoughts from the majority of the people was we need to embrace the river more. If you look at renderings of what Chattanooga has done over the last several years,
Yes.
they've really embraced the river, and they've got a ton of like stuff facing the river and that are part of the river. And that's something that the Rock River Market has not been as good at, is embracing the view of the river, the interaction with the river, etc. Like we've got the amphitheater right there. That's fantastic. But yeah, there is no like outdoor seating, overlooking the river and kind of taking advantage of that beautiful view.
Marshall, could you share about how artificial intelligence is being leveraged by the Rackley team to help us sell homes?
I feel like most of the stuff I use AI for is just to help me get clients. I wouldn't want to bring up Rachel, and I also wouldn't want to bring up that I use ChatGPT
that's a good point.
to help me with content.
Okay, it would actually be really funny if we just like cut to the end where we just say, and that's all we're allowed to share about artificial intelligence being leveraged by the Rackley team. We're realizing a lot of this is proprietary and does not need to be shared, but it's exciting. All the things that we're seeing, the things that we're doing. We've partnered with an artificial intelligence consulting agency that is top shelf, high class team of people that are doing some really big stuff. So it's been really cool to get to be on the inside of those meetings and learning about what they're doing for all the different industries. It's unbelievable. The conversational artificial intelligence is blowing my mind right now, hearing about how these bots are able to be built that you are able to upload the database of knowledge. You could upload the entirety of the Arkansas Real Estate Commission handbook and the exactly what to say for real estate agents script guide, and equip this bot to handle things like particularly property management services. So if somebody needs to have something repaired and a tenant has someone they can call at all hours of the day, this service is able to say, tell us about what problem you're having, and they can actually feel like they're talking to a human. They might honestly not even know that they're not talking to a human. And this not human receives the request, is able to verify whether it's actually urgent, or, they can have the intelligence to understand how important and how to properly handle the issue. And they'll get a service ticket ordered for a plumber to come out and fix the problem, or whatever it is. I mean, property management being the easiest example, there's so many incredibly intricate ways that artificial intelligence is being leveraged all over every different industry. And it's exciting to get to see be a part of, it's nice to be in the room where it happens, hearing how some of these things are being set up for big organizations. And we're just a small team getting to leverage some of the cool, fun little tricks that help us to help our clients more effectively. Okay, so what should be our finish? How do we end this deal? Pound it, noggin, see ya! Let's close this out with a few final comments. Ramsy, what is your wise word of the day?
Wise word of the day is house. If you don't have one, get one. If you need to buy one or sell one, call a Rackley team.
Gorgeous.
And remember, the odds are always in the house's
wise
favor.
word. Guys, it thrills my soul that we have the opportunity to do this show, to give our community a chance to kind of have a little bit of to be a part of what we get to do every day, which is collaborate and work on how to become the best possible real estate service provider. And it's been so much fun just getting to pioneer this episode 1 with a lot of technical difficulties working through, but it's just so fun. And my hope is that we'll be able to continue doing this and get better and better, the same way that we aim to get better every day at helping people buy and sell homes. We will get better and better at making this content that is actually entertaining. It's hopefully a little bit educational, and that it's honestly engaging to the people that we want to connect with. So thank you all for making the time. Thank you, our friends who are tuning in, for being a part of this. And we want to hear from you. So if there's ideas of ways that we can improve, we crave the criticism as a way to get better and better. So share the love by giving us the lessons on opportunities for improvement that you see. And we'd love to include you. So if there's something that you want to share about your business or the news in our city that you would love for other people to know about, let us know. We want to include you. We don't want this to be all about us. We want to keep it short and sweet about me and tall and true about you. So let us know. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Gator.
Pound it, noggin, see ya!